Okay, but this is the next slide, actually. I just did the previous slide. Okay, good. So now we're moving on to this slide. So this is just another example with a histogram. Basically here, as you can see, again, you have that whole list of data. And you could go through that same process and make a histogram. I mean, not all, it doesn't look like, let me get to the slides. Here we go. So we have this, okay? I mean, here I probably could make the bucket size a little bit different to make it easier to see what the scores actually are. It looks like here each bucket size is of length. I'm guessing it's 2, it looks like. So it's just another example. Okay. So I was going to have you guys try one. Let me do it with you, though. Okay. Let me do this one with you guys. Then after that, we'll do a bunch of examples, okay? All right. So anyway, let me do this one with you. So again, right, we have this data. We want to enter this data into a spreadsheet. Let's get to my notes. All right, here we go. Okay. Let me share Google spread. Let me get to that spreadsheet. Let me do a new one. There we go. Okay. I'm going to get to that spreadsheet. Let me just stop this. Now let me open up the Chrome tab. Here we go. I'm going to put the data in, okay? We have 17, right? 36, 55, 59, 14. So I'm entering in the data, right? 100, 42, 5, 50, and 7. 91, 10, 46, 72, 72. I know this is annoying because we have to list the data this way. But I think this is just how you have to make a histogram. I mean, there is other statistical software packages. I mean, excuse me, software like happened. Oh, I got nervous. I thought I closed it by mistake. There is other and more advanced software. I think like Minitab, I think is one. I haven't used that since I was an undergrad in 2000, excuse me, a grad student in 2008. So I don't know much about that, honestly. I mean, we have this. This is all we have for now, this kind of spreadsheet. So it's just like before now, right? What do we do next? Wait, am I still sharing? Can they still see it? Yeah. So again, it's just like before, right? What do we do next? Well, what we're going to do is go to Insert, okay? We're going to go to, actually, excuse me, we have to highlight. So we highlight, scrolling up. No, use the keyboard. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Insert, the chart. Okay, here comes. Okay, that's not the kind of chart we want. We want a histogram. So the one that says histogram on it, or if you let the mouse hover over it, you get a histogram. We get this, and that's our histogram. But again, let's change the bucket size, right? What we can do is make the bucket size into, let's say, 1. Let's see how that looks. Remember, that's what I did on here. Let me just double check. You know, I made it 5, so let's do that. Auto, if we made it on 1, I mean, it would look like that. That's kind of hard to see, right? So let's make it 5. But if we made it 2, still hard to see. So I think that's what I did on the slide. Okay, so that's what it looks like. That's our histogram, as you can see. Okay, that's cool. So now what we do, so now what I want to do is get back to the slides, but that's how you can make a histogram. I mean, that's all there is to it. So I'm going to stop sharing this. Get back to my slides. Here we go. Okay. So that's our histogram. Okay, so again, that's what we get here, right? I just wanted to go through that. I thought it'd be good. I mean, they could be drawn by hand. The book doesn't go into that, so I kind of skipped over that. And this is something else, actually, here. you can actually also use class intervals, which is actually groupings of data. You could actually do that if you want. That's something else. And this is just a definition I just got from the book. Basically, when you do this, the number of intervals you would use is between 5 and 20, and they're all equal in size. Now, you could actually make this by using a bar chart if you want. If you also had a frequency table, in that case. But you could actually do this. It's just what you would have to do through a frequency table is the intervals you would actually have to treat as qualitative data, even though it's really not. Well, technically it's not, I guess. I mean, I did make some examples. So like, for instance, if you do this, you can see though, at least with Google Sheets, I'm pretty sure this is not quite a histogram, only because we have the spacing here. Here, let me get the laser thing. All right, if you looked at the other histograms, we didn't have that spacing. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is actually a histogram or not. I want to say it is, but again, I could be wrong though. Just letting you know. Okay. I mean, the class also is just an introduction to stats, so I guess that's all I really want to do with histograms, except these examples. Let's do some examples now. So basically here, we're just going to look at reading these things. You know, we made some through Google Sheets, and I think it'd be good for us to read as well from them. You want to be able to read a graph. That's important. Okay. So let's say a group of adults, right? This is actually from the textbook, were asked how many children they have in their families. So I guess they did a study on this. I don't know. I guess that's what the problem is assuming. And what they did was they don't have the data, but they presented it in a histogram, and this they gave to us. Let me just say this now. As I said before, when you read the data, you're looking at all numbers bigger than or equal to the left endpoint, but strictly less than the right endpoint. You don't include the right endpoint. So for the first bar here, these are all the people, the frequency here 5, these are all the people that said they had no children. They had no children. Here, these are all the people that said they had one child. I mean, you can't have half a kid, of course, so. And there's all the people that had 2 kids only, and so on. Right, so we have the frequency here, we have the number of kids here. Should be a 5. That should be a 5. Let me just fix that. Cross that out. That should be a 5 adults said they had no children. 3 said they had 1, and so on. Not sure why I put 4 there. Maybe it was 4, but then I fixed it. Anyway, so here are some questions. How many adults were questioned in total? How would you get that? Well, we can add up the frequencies. We can add up the frequencies. Okay? That's really just, that's just what we can do. Frequency is the number of adults that said they had no children. Here the frequency is how many adults said they had 1 kid. Here's the frequency, how many adults said they had exactly 2 kids, and so on. If we were to add up the frequencies, then we can get the number of adults. I mean, we have these other questions. We'll get back to those in a minute. Actually, wait, let me just say it. We also can ask, once really we know how many adults there are, we can then ask what percentage of the adults had 0 kids, right? We get how many adults there are that said they had 0 kids, and then take a percentage. Oh, yeah. What percentage also said they had 2 kids only? Okay, well, let's do this. So again, we can just simply add up the frequencies, right? We have 5, 3, 4, 2. There's none here, right? No one said they had exactly 4 kids. But here we have 1. If you add up those numbers, you get 15. So they asked 15 adults. Again, it's just adding up the frequencies. That's all we're doing. Okay, now from there we can ask, okay, what percentage had no children? In other words, what percentage of the adults had no kids? Well, let's see. We know that 5 of them said they had no kids. There's 15 altogether. So, it's just like a percentage problem. 5 over 15 times 100. 5 over 15, right? Remember, that's how you get a percentage, part over whole or is over of, right? This is really asking us, since 5 adults said they had no kids, this is really asking, what is 5 out of 15? What percentage is that? So part over whole times 100, which is this. Now here we divide, and we round it to 2 decimal places. So it's about 33.33%. What about 3 kids? Well, for 3 kids, that'd be a 2. Wait, did I make a mistake? Oh, 2, that's why. This should be 2. That's why. The question's right. Over here, this should be a 2. My mistake. So what percentage of them said they had 2 kids, right? That was actually the question here. But what we use this, right? We would use this, and I'm not sure why does that say 4? I guess I made a mistake. Okay. Okay. Well, anyway, here's what we would get. Let me just fix that. Basically, here, there's a mistake here. I got to fix that. But basically, what you would have is you would have 4 out of 15 times 100. Let me just fix that. You would have 4 out of 15 times 100. Okay. So for 2 kids, we're going to use this bar. Okay. 4 out of 15 times 100. Okay, so if you do that in your calculator, let me just do that quickly. I missed that. It's about 26.67%. So let me just fix that. So we get 26.67%. Okay, good. Well, how did I miss that when writing up the notes? Oh well. Anyway, so that's what happens here. So that's what we get now, 4. Okay? That's what we get here. All right. Okay, so that's what we get. So again, for this one, I know there was a mistake here, but we wanted to see what percentage said they had 2 kids. So we have to look at, here, let me get my laser. So we have to get this bar here, okay? Right? And here we can see that these are all the people that said they had 2 kids, right? You include all the numbers bigger than or equal to 2, less than 3. And that's 4. So we have 4 out of 15 times 100. If you do that in your calculator, you end up getting about 26.67%. So not sure how that, I guess, oh well. I fixed it now, so all right. Any questions about this? All right, let me just pause let me just stop the recording.